Started and start with the Jenkins first, and then we'll move on to the left out part. Jenkins selection, Jenkins setup over here is again like few of the things that we have to do. We can like follow the same steps that I have given over here inside this, and then let's see how does it take us to the Jenkins over here. Okay, so first thing that we require is to have Jenkins installed in our system. So as we are inside, whenever you work inside your organization, they'll be providing you, or there'll be a DevOps team who will be helping you to set it up the Jenkins. If they are not are no DevOps team, then they'll provide you the authentication like username and password for you to set it up like Jenkins inside the inside the Jenkins. Basically, they'll provide you the authentication username and password for the organization, and there you can create your job. Okay. First thing, let's install the generic. Again,
Before you do that, Praveen,
mhm,
I actually never used the Jenkins.
mhm.
So is it Jenkins similar to the GitHub pipelines or GitLab
I'll come to that.
pipelines?
I'll come to that. I'll come to that. Exactly. It's similar to GitHub Actions that you see, but Actions generally, what do we do is um, the GitHub pipeline exactly similar. So what it does is like it takes a scripting part here. We can set it up with the UI as well.
Oh,
We'll explain you what happened in terms of a Jenkins and all,
sure, sure.
right? And this is what we are going from a complete basic over here. So Jenkins, what is basically a Jenkins? Like before we go for down. So Jenkins is a server. Is when you work inside the organization, you'll be using a cloud version. When you work inside your local system, you'll be working with a free version of Jenkins. Right. So Jenkins available in like Jenkins are available in two form. One is free, and second is paid version as well. Paid version will have advanced level of configuration, and now Jenkins free version will have a basic configuration, which will be sufficient for running inside the Jenkins for the um, your test automation. You can create also a job which can run automatically at certain point of time and so on. Okay. Now, whatever the setup we'll be doing over here will be equal to an almost the similar setup we can do in the same um, sorry, not same, but in one of a server known as Azure pipeline. So Azure pipeline and Jenkins have almost similar setup. A slight difference there are where the UI for the Azure is much better than the Jenkins, but the steps becomes the similar kind of things inside the Azure pipeline as well. Okay, so Jenkins is a cloud version. It's basically a server which helps us in executing either a development pipeline, whatever you want to execute there, or if you want to use for the test automation, then it helps us in executing the test automation on the server without taking the help of or without depending on the manual intervention of execution of the test automation. We Jenkins have given a feature where you can also trigger the test automation manually as well, and we can also set up it to run at a certain time. Let's say um, what happened in terms of an organization is generally we run the test automation suite on a daily basis, which we call it as a smoke suit or regression suit on the weekly basis or twice in a week. That have been set it up every day automatically, and that is what is possible using the Jenkins and other CI/CD pipeline as well. In terms of a Jenkins, it also has given a one user-friendly UI which we can navigate to and set it up everything plus everything in the sense to set a job inside the Jenkins, which help us in executing the test automation, whichever we are trying to refer in terms of the repository. There are again two ways happens. One, whenever you have a public repo, which will never be the case when you work inside any of the organization, and when you have a private repository. So there are two different ways in which we have to access. One, if you have a private repository, let's say for your practice setup, there we do not require any kind of authentication to be provided. But it's always better to provide them the authentication so that it will pull the code from public repository. But in terms of a public repository, whenever we are working for our practice purpose, we do not have to provide any kind of authentication. But for private repository, we have to provide authentication. Authentication means provide them the access so that they can pull the code from whichever repository that you require, which also we'll see in next 15 minutes of time. And nowadays, Jenkins requires a token to be generated, not using the username and password. That token will have a certain expiry time. Depending on certain expiry time, we have to again change the token over there. That also we'll see how do we provide those. Okay, so let's move over here and see how do we do that. Inside the document, I have also given generic Java package, which is also known as .war file. You can simply click on this and it will download. Second thing is, to set it up Jenkins, we need to have Java available inside our system. To set it up Jenkins, we also require Java available inside our system. And in our previous session, one question was by Kavita saying, for monocard report, do we require a Java? No. For monocard report generation, we do not require any Java available. Okay, so let's go over here, or let's go to the website as well. We can go over here and then we can set it up. So let's go and say it as download Jenkins. And from here, we can go to the download and deploy. Here, again, they'll mention some stable version that are available in the market. Whichever stable version are currently available, depending on our, again, operating system, we can select, but it will always be available in the form of generic, which is for all the type of operating system. So here we can go and whichever you see that available as an LTS. This is one you will get it in the left side, and second you'll get it in the right side of the application. Right side will not be a stable, but that will be a latest version. The left that will be basically a latest version which is available in the market right now, and this is the latest version that are available everywhere. You can simply click on this. As soon as you click, this will start downloading the file. Somehow it is not working. Okay, so the similar path I have also given over here inside our document. From here looks to be working. So this is from get Jenkins similar application. Okay, now it started working over here and it started downloading the things, which is generally for you it will be a Jenkins.war. For me it is one because I believe like just now before a session it started one more over here, right? So let's delete this. Do I have any other things? Okay, so generally it will be downloaded as a Jenkins.war file. So let's make it as over here, which is Jenkins 1.1. Okay, so this Jenkins have been downloaded now in our setup. Once you just have to click on this. If you just follow the document as well, our document that will be uh, inside this as well, I have given a document, plus inside the GitHub as well, I have uploaded recently the document, plus which was this document you will also be able to see. But inside the GitHub again, that is available inside a private, should have you should be having the access to. And then second one is the second step. So with this, like we have installed the Jenkins inside our system. Second step is to open command prompt and go to the folder where jenkins.war file is stored. You can store at certain places, or by default, it will get stored inside the download folder. Okay. So let's open either a command prompt or a terminal, whichever. If you are working with um, Windows, then either you can open a command prompt or terminal. If you're working with Mac OS, then you can open a terminal over here. Okay. So second step is open a terminal and then go to the specific folder where you have stored the Jenkins. By default, it is available inside a downloads, which you can see over here inside my system, which is available at downloads and then Jenkins 1.war. So I'll just go to the downloads folder. I have moved to the download folder, and from here, that means we have moved to the folder where Jenkins is available. Now, the third thing is what we have to do is we have to first start the Jenkins server, right? So you have installed, and after that, we basically have to start the Jenkins server so that we can start working with Jenkins. Whatever the setup that we have to do, we can do over there. And to start the Jenkins server, as I said earlier, we also require a Java. We just have to type whenever you try to execute any war file. Whenever you try to execute any war file used to be a Java generic package. A generic package it used to be, which is having an extension as .war file. And whenever you want to execute that .war file, we have to take the help of Java, which is the similar code. Any war file, if you want to utilize, you have to say it as a Java space minus jar space the file name that it has generated, and then whichever port that you want to run this particular Jenkins to. So every time, whenever you run any software, right, that requires some kind of port to be available. Port means like it will just do a connection between a client and server over there on certain port, certain HTTP port. Okay. By default, it will start on 8080. If you have not provided any port over here, by default, it will start on 8080. But if something is running already inside your system on 8080 port, then you have to provide some other port over here. So if you do not provide this, in that case, it will automatically take 8080 as a HTTP port.
It will
Okay.
be a best practice to use above 8080 port, right?
There might be a chance, because by default, what happens is like whenever you try to run any kind of server inside your system, by default, it takes 8080. So
Yeah.
if you're not aware of if anything's running on that, then you can basically provide this. If you're aware of there is nothing running on that, then probably you can use 8080 as well. Okay. Now, this is basically a command that we have to run at the place that we have moved over here to execute the .war file over here. So I'll just make it as 8080 because I know that there is no server running inside my system right now. Okay. And then you have to hit enter. What it does is whatever Jenkins or Jenkins that are available inside your system, whatever it is available, it will just go and start reading that particular file. After completion of reading, it will open the server, whichever server is either a Jenkins or sometimes you will also be going for Apache to set it up, like to work with like um, advanced version of Java and so on. So there we can use it. Now in this case, what will happen is it will go to the Jenkins one.var, start reading, and as soon as it's complete reading, if everything goes well, it will say like your server is up and running. So just hit enter after this and see. It is now have gone to this particular file. It started reading the complete Jenkins.word that it has that it basically has installed in our system. And then at the end, it will also mention over here that which port that it has used. So you can also see over here that started server connection at certain port. Which port that you can see also over here, which is 8080. All the things that it also has to basically read from the Jenkins file that we have basically recently downloaded. It has already started reading it, is saying that upgrading Jenkins, the last like from the last previous time, whatever, whenever I have run this Jenkins server, from there it is trying to upgrade something over here, and from some version to some version, because the last time that I used a Jenkins was 2.49, and currently we are trying to use a 2.50. So if it is already available inside your system, then it will try to upgrade that automatically. And if everything goes well, then perform the action check, update server successfully at attempt 1. It will basically give you the message saying that Jenkins is fully up and running. When it gives you a message saying that Jenkins is fully up and running, that means you can now open this Jenkins server inside your local system. And how do we open this is, so as we see over here, this says that you can run on this particular server. 0.0.0.8080 is the port name that you have to use. Instead of this, you can also use by default, which it takes 127.0.0.1 colon, and I'll just show you how do we run that. So after successful start, so it basically starts the Jenkins server over here. Okay, let's go and see how does it start over here in this. So I just written one, I just posted one blog on Medium. That is what it was over. Okay, so here again you can go and simply say it as localhost colon 8080. Inside your system, inside your local system, you can also say it as a local host, and it will by default also take the 127.0.0. What is that? So 127.0.0.1 is equal to your local host that you have given. Local host means you are saying that you're running inside your local system. Okay, for cloud version, whenever you go inside your organization, you will get the name of the Jenkins first along with your organization. Okay, so as soon as you hit enter, if it is successfully if it displays over here a message saying that successful, which is Jenkins is up and running over here, it will display you this kind of UI. Okay, it will display you this kind of UI, but it has basically taken me to the sign in, because the previous step of this have been set it up automatically earlier by me in the last run. So what we have to do is, for the next whenever you try to open it for the first time, right, because you will be installing it for the first time, so it will provide you the password. As soon as it launch, it will not directly take you to the sign in button. It will give you a password for you. It will generate a password for you. So here, after successful start, it will generate a password for the first time you set it up the Jenkins. It will display over here a password. I cannot do anything because it only allows for one time in any of the system. So
Like
it allows,
administrator password, right?
sorry,
Administrator password. It will be long
right,
characters
right,
encrypted.
correct.
Yeah.
So that will be a very longer one, and it also gives you a path. Above to that, it will give you a path that I have set it up at. I have stored your password at certain place. Okay, but that is again one time usable. So always remember that whenever it generates a password, copy paste somewhere. For me, I believe I should have copy pasted somewhere over here. But that is again one time. After that, it will never give you. So this is the password. This is how it looks like the password. Okay, for me, it generated like this. For you, it might generate in some other way as well. And so that will be the password it will generate. It will also give you the path where it has stored automatically stored inside your system as well. This is in the password. That path also you can copy. Somehow I was not understanding that when I like set up Jenkins around a few years ago inside my system, and I did not copy that. Uh, from then, I don't know like where it has stored basically. So in terms of this, it will generate you the password. That password you have to copy, and then the username by default will be admin. Username by default will be admin. ADMIN, admin. Okay. After that, after setting up this, the fourth line, which will generate you for the password. After you copy paste that, it will give you an option to click on next button. Okay. That again I cannot open again in my system, which will give you a option to click on next button. As soon as you click on next button, you'll get one window with certain like this window, where in the left side they'll mention some plugin availables. Okay. Uh, in complete window, they'll mention one plugin available. Any question over here?
Hey, yes, Praveen.
Yes.
From in my system as well as I install in parallel with you, but where I
Mhm.
can find the password is stored, any hints on that?
It will generate you on the application itself.
Uh, I, I loaded with localhost 8080, but I don't
Mhm.
see the password there. I see what you see.
The sign in option.
Yes.
Did you install earlier anytime
No,
Jenkins?
no. I think this is the first time I installed.
It should not take to that.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay. Okay. I'll come back to that. We'll connect with
Mm-hmm.
you.
And another thing
Okay.
is that when
Mm.
you in the command prompt you applied 9090 port. Um,
I'd given
here
8080.
in 8080.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, okay, fine.
Okay. So okay. 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 Let's move over here. I'll come back to that. I'm side by side. I'm also trying to install in one of my personal laptop, which is bit slow. That is why I have not joined on that. But let's see. If I get it over here, I'll connect back inside that. Okay. So in after that, like after you set it up, the um, after you click on the next button, you will basically get one again screen over here, which will say you as which will basically give you an option to install the plugin. There'll be two options: customized plugin and recommended plugin. There'll be two options given. One is a customized plugin, and second is a recommended plugin over here. Okay, so you just have to click on recommended plugin. Whatever is basically recommended to work with Jenkins, it will automatically install. It will take few minutes of time to complete the setup for the Jenkins, and after that, it will take us to this particular page. after completion of Jenkins in plugin installation, it will take us to this particular page. Okay, let me just give like 30 seconds of time. It have been installed in my other laptop. So I'll just check what kind of option that it is displaying. Or else, anyways, like I'll take a time at the end and we'll see. Okay, so it will basically take us to the login. After that, like after installation of a recommended plugin, it will take us to the login page. Login into the Jenkins by using a username as admin and password which it has been generated at the line number 4. After successful start, it will basically generate, and there we can check the password over here. Second, you can also create a new user and password, but for that again we have to remember the password that it basically had generated at the first time. Okay, so that username and password we have to use. You can see like in my system, again I am using the same username and password, which is admin, and the password that it had generated for me, which I was displaying on that. This is the password that it had generated. Okay, provide the username, provide the password, and click on sign in. Okay, so after successful validation, it will basically take us to the Jenkins dashboard over here. Jenkins dashboard over here. I think I have used it 3 months ago, last time. Okay, now this is the Jenkins UI, Jenkins dashboard. This is the complete UI. How does the Jenkins display, like Jenkins UI looks like? This is a free version, so it looks like in this way. In the advanced version, which will be a paid version, this will display in some other format. You will get basically a colorful UI where you can try to generate there will be other options as well apart from this. Here are very limited things that are available. Okay, so after logging into the application, it will take us to the go to dashboard, basically take us to the dashboard. So in this, from the dashboard, we also have to install certain things. So if you still remember, like in terms of working with Playwright, we require a Node.js to be installed in our system. We also require Playwright to be available inside our system. And when we work with specifically with TypeScript, then like TypeScript comes into picture, but here Playwright will automatically be taking care of the Playwright and TypeScript part as well. So certain things that we have to install when you have started working with Excel, we have installed a plugin which was like XLSX, like a package kind of. When we have started working with Allure, we have also set it up Allure. So Allure also we have to generate the plugin over here, right? So some plugins will be automatically available as a part of the recommended plugins installation over here, and some plugins we have to install it depending on our requirement. So one of them is known as Allure Jenkins plugin that we have to store over here, so that it will generate the report in the form of Allure as well. Okay, let's go over here. And what it says is go to the dashboard, and from dashboard, go to the manage Jenkins. From dashboard, you can go to manage Jenkins, click on this manage Jenkins over here, and it will take us to the different parts over here, where one of them available are this one, which is plugins. So it says go to the manage plugins or manage Jenkins. Earlier it was having a name as manage plugins. Now it have been recently changed to manage Jenkins. And then go to the plugins over here. Go to the plugins. And from here, you can go to the available. So you can go to the install plugins and check what are different plugins that it has already installed. It will install as a part of the recommended setup. So all these things that you see, apart from the Allure Jenkins, everything it have been installed by default by the Jenkins at the time of clicking on install recommended Jenkins. I have not done any other things except the Allure plugin. Everything it will automatically install, which is related to GitHub, um, API. If you are working with that, also will get automatically installed, and so on. There will be a lot of plugins that it install automatically. One of them that we have to install, you have to go to the available plugins over here, and from there you can search Allure. For you, it will be available inside Allure. For me, as I have already installed, so it is available inside in this one, which is install plugin over here. What you have to do is you have to just search for the plugin, which is Allure, and then click on that checkbox. Click on the checkbox and click on install button over here. Simple. Search for the plugins, which is Allure. Okay. Search for the plugins, which is Allure. Check the checkbox for that particular plugin, not for all. Check the checkbox for that particular plugin and click on install. As soon as you click install, it will take like in between 10 to 30 seconds to install that plugin and will be ready for you. And once it have been installed, basically you will see that that will be available inside your install plugin. So it checks the basically how it does work is you have checked over here and then click on, instead of update, you'll be clicking on install, and this will take us to this particular screen. Okay, where it will say either it have been passed or failed. Generally it will display a success. Due to some issues it is not able to handle it over here, but once it gets success, you can see that inside your install plugin. So you can go to the install plugin, and whichever you have recently done, that will be displayed over here. Okay, so this we have to install as a part of Allure report generation. Again, it is mandatory when we basically work with Allure reporting over there. Okay, now the next one is now it is asking us to select the basically search for like go to the dashboard and start creation of your pipeline or the jobs that you are trying to create it over here for the Jenkins and for your test automation. So it says that go to dashboard, click on new item. So let's move over here, go to the dashboard. You can directly click on dashboard. You can also click on from here as well, which there was option, I don't know. This have been recently updated. Okay, there used to be earlier from here as well, but it has like now fully moved to this one. So go to the dashboard, click on new item. What we are now trying to do is we are trying to click create a job over here, a Jenkins job, which will start working on our test automation. That means which will basically start creation of a job which will automatically run our test automation. Okay, so first that you have to give the name of the job that you want to create over here. So name, you can provide like depending on, generally inside the organization will be providing the name of the repository plus the feature name, like feature whatever you are trying to work on. So let's say I'll say it as some meaningful name, let's say, so that I can identify PW, and this is for March 2025 plus some random name I have given over here. Okay, this becomes the job name over here. Job name inside Jenkins is a server where we have to create a job, where we have to basically create a job. What is job? Job, you are creating one as a part of a project over here. In terms of a project, it basically consider it as a job inside the inside the Jenkins. Okay, and then you can click on a freestyle project over here. a freestyle project and click on OK button. So it will create a project which is also known as a job inside the um, um, Jenkins. You can see that it says that this is a job having a name as the name that we have given. And as soon as you click on OK, it will take us to the configuration. Because we have not set up anything right now to run your whichever you are basically trying to run it over here as a part of your test automation, right? So we have to give, again, Jenkins is a server where we have to provide complete information so that it can go to a certain repository, and from there it start working on, right? Now, as a part of our set it up over here, let's again go back to setup over here. It says that enter an item name that we have already done and click freestyle project, click on OK button. Now go to the source code management. There is an option inside the configuration, which is source code management. You can either click on directly this, or you can scroll down, and from here you can select the Git. Generally, you are trying to run your test automation from the GitHub, right? Your code is available inside the GitHub, or even if it is available inside the Bitbucket, you can also provide the URL over here. But for that, we have to select a Git over here. Select a Git, and then provide the repository URL over here. In this case, we have to provide the repository URL, whichever repository that we are currently working on. Repository means the repository that we have created for our like inside your organization repository. For our purpose, it will be um, a project that we have created over here, right, as a part of repository. So let's go over here and see that we have so from the repository you can I believe like this is the repository that we have. Let me just check it out. I believe this is the one that we have set it up inside the last week. Yes. So this is the repository that we have. You can simply select the repository from the search bar, or you can also select from the code and click on this HTTP that you have over here, so that it will select the repository URL. And that repository URL, we have to provide it over here. Okay. That repository URL we have provided, it will scan this repository. If it is a private, then it will ask you to set up the credential. It will ask you, it will provide you an error message saying that you have to, or a warning message saying that you have to set up the like authentication as well. And that authentication, you can select it from here. So you can see like I have done with both of the things. One is a none. If your repository is a public, then you do not have to provide any credential. It will be publicly available. So it will go and select from whichever branch that you are trying to run over here. Mostly we'll be running a master branch or a release branch, whichever a branch that are available inside your repository, which is working as a collection of all the codes, whichever branch that will be available. Okay. So whenever you have to set it up the credential, you can click on add over here. You can simply click on add button and click on a Jenkins, which will take us to the Jenkins over here. Okay. Now, in terms of the username and password that it asks over here is, nowadays it just takes us a password, which basically it have been introduced around 9 months ago, where it only requires a token to be provided. Okay, a GitHub token that it requires us in terms of setting up the username and password. Only the password. It does not require a token, because password will consist, the token will consist of the complete details. Now for that, we have to generate a GitHub token. Earlier, around 9 months ago, like around a year ago, it requires a username and password which was basically the username and password that you use at the time of login inside your GitHub repository or Bitbucket repository. Okay, now it asks us to generate the token. So for that token generation, you can basically move to the your repository wherever you see over here the name, that means your GitHub dashboard from here, and from here again go to the settings, or you can click on any of the repository. It will take us to that particular setting as well, the repository that you are basically trying to work on. You can go to this icon, which is a profile icon over here, and click on settings. Okay, and from here go to developer setting. It will be the last option, and on this particular page, on the settings page, the last option is known as developer settings. Click on this, and then there will be something known as a personal access token. The same option will also be available for your private repository, which you will be working inside the organization. The similar actions, similar step you have to provide. Okay, you can simply click on this personal access token, and you can click on token classic. Fine grained token that have been introduced recently, which also generates the token. And you can simply click on the tokens that you have to generate over here. Click on the tokens, and then click on generate a new token over here. Generate new token. Fine grained will have a repository, only for the repository accessibility, one particular repository accessible, and this will be for the general purpose use. So you can click on generate new token. Now it will ask you the password. Not sure what is the password over here. So let me see if I'm able to recover the password. Yes. So it will ask you the password to generate so that it can authenticate you, and then provide a note. Note means for what purpose? Like you can just provide any kind of things. Let's say I'll just say it as Playwright. It just requires a name to be provided for the token that you are trying to generate. And then it will ask you an expiration. Do you want to expire it within the 30 days, 7 days, 60 days, 90 days, custom, or no expiration? So it always better that we can set it up a 1 year time of the uh, expiration. So you can select from here and select 1 year from now, that you can select, like, let's say June 2026, the same date. It will give you, in terms of an expiration, selection of expiration, it will give you 365 days maximum time. Else you can select no expiration. No expiration means it will never expire. Okay, after that, basically when you try to select, you need some kind of to work with a repository, you need some kind of access over here. You have to select scope. When you select a find grain token, it will automatically select few of the scopes. Okay, what are the things that you require? You require some access. What kind of access? For that, you require reading the project that you are trying to work with. You also require, if you require an admin, then you can admin role. Then you can basically click on this one. If you require deletion of a repository, you can click. If you require certain user repository, like you want to create user for your GitHub and so on, you require. But what are we trying to generate over here is we are trying to generate it for complete repository access. Right? What Jenkins will do, Jenkins will not create your user inside the GitHubs. Jenkins will not delete your repository. So always try to take like the read-only access kind of things, where it can take the full repository access, like status, deployment, then commit access, and so on. It can get it over here. And from here, you can simply click on a generate token. To work with Jenkins, we do not require any other things to be available for the access of the Jenkins. This is basically required to work with the Jenkins. You can click on generate token, it will generate this token over here. So this one, this is the token that it has generated, and you have to again like copy paste somewhere. You have to copy paste, because after this, after once you refresh this, after that it will not be available. So I'm just copy pasting over here for the safety purpose. Let's refresh this. After that, it will just say that you have some key that you have generated over here. Okay, if you have lost, then you have to again regenerate that. Okay, so that token that it had generated, you have to provide it over here as a password. You can probably give some dummy username over here, but that is again not required. And you can click on add button. So as soon as you clicked on add, you will see that the second one have been added over here. Earlier I had one, and now I have created one over here. So that you have to select if you want to work with private repository. Currently we have a public, so we do not require anything to be set it up as a part of credential. Okay. Now, if you again further scroll down, you will see that branches to build. So you have to, by default, it will select the master branch that are available inside your repository. By default, it will select that particular master branch over there.
Hey, Praveen, one question. Sorry to interrupt you.
Yes.
The token that we provided, is it applicable on the repository level or project level?
There are two things. One is a fine grained, which will be available as a repository level, and the one that we have created is at like GitHub level, the complete complete GitHub level. That means your authentication level.
Okay,
You can provide
okay,
anything, but I'd suggest to use classic token, which is having at global level. Global in the sense your user access level.
right. That means I should be able to access all the projects that is available in GitHub
Right.
repository,
Right.
specific GitHub.
Yes. Right. Yes.
But if I wanted to just, run the specific project or specific repository project, then what should be the option, Praveen? Do I need to go to the particular repository and generate a token, or how that works?
You can do that in the same way. You can go to the repository, and from their repository, you can go to the settings, and you will also be able to generate from there. But generally speaking, like this personal access token works at your access level, your accessibility level. So they have introduced one fine-grained token. Fine-grained token will be accessible at certain certain repository level access. Okay. Which have again recently given the access over here. Not sure whether it is working as per intended, because I have never used a token classic access whenever you provide. Also, Jenkins will never be able to access any other repository than whatever you have provided. Unless and until you provide, it will never be able to access any repository.
Oh, okay, understood.
Okay. Even if you have given the credential over here as an admin level, it will not be able to do any other things other than the repository that you have provided on.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. In the next step, it by default select the master over here as a repository, which it basically consider as a master branch. That means every code will be stored inside this. That means all the commit will be committed to PR request, which is pull request, will be merged to this particular branch. If you have certain other branch, you can provide it over here. Let's say if you have release, you can make it as a release or any other branch that you are trying to select. Okay, now let's again move back to this. So now it says that, just a minute. So now it says that we have clicked on enter. We have also given the GitHub repository, GitHub credential over here. Right now, what we have to do is we have to set it up again some installation that we have to do, right? So whenever you work with Playwright, we provide some kind of command to work with, right? And in that way, we have also set it up some kind of command for us. If you see inside the package.json, we have given some particular command that if you want to run inside the QA, you can run it by using certain things over here. If you want to run in staging, prod, and different actions that we have given over here, right? So here again, what we have to do is we have to provide the command that you want to execute in terms of in terms of working with Playwright. Okay, so for that, the step is go to build step and select execute shell. Go to a build step, select execute shell. I've written this step because even I do not aware, like, because it used to be like once in a while time. So I'm even not fully aware like what are the steps that we have to select. I have done it most of the time, many a time by now. So I know like what we have to do and so on. So next step, you can go to the build step over here, build step, and click on add build step. And here we have to click on execute shell. Okay, we have to simply click on execute shell over here, execute shell, and it will give us an option to run the command, whichever command that you are trying to run. How do we run the test case? Basically, npx playwright test. Inside our command line, we run it using npx playwright test. Anything that you are trying to ask? If not, just request, please mute yourself. Okay, so npx playwright test is what we generally try to write it over here. But as we have seen at the part of the GitHub, what it does is like whenever you are trying to, please mute yourself. Manimaran, can you please mute yourself? Thanks. Thank you. So what happened in terms of working with the Playwright is in our previous session, we saw at the time of GitHub that whenever you are trying to clone something, it's always better that we run a command known as npm install, so that if there is something that we have to install, it automatically it will install depending on the package.json that you have provided, right? So in that case, go to the post build action. Go to the build step and select execute shell. Why do we select execute shell? Why not others? Because execute shell will be available for all the Windows, all the operating system that you are trying to work with. There are other option available inside this. Let me just close this. Inside this, if you see, like, this is only for the Windows applicable over here. This is for Node.js script that you want to run. And execute shell is basically available for both Windows and Mac operating system. And here we have to first command, we have to run it as npm install, which will install all the dependencies. For the first time inside the Jenkins, whenever you try to run your project for the first time, it will install, and from later on, it will directly get from the cache. It will install everything and will store it inside the Jenkins cache. Okay, and from the next time onwards, it will start getting the downloaded things from the Jenkins cache. Okay. Second option that we have to give is whichever you want to run, whichever things that you want to run over here. So from our project, if you go over here, we have a full test case, which is saying npx playwright test over here. If you want to run test related to smoke, depending on if you want to run regression, you can provide the regression command and so on. So let's say we have test : smoke suit over here, right? If you want to run a smoke suit, then you have to provide it over here, which is npm run, and then the key that you have given inside package.json. So if you have written in this way, which is npm run command, then it will go inside your package.json and find out if this key is available inside that or not. Okay, if it is available, then it will run that particular things. If it is not, then you can also provide like npx playwright test, which will run all your test cases that have been marked with that are available inside your project. Okay, so these are the two commands that we have to do. First, it will run this command, which is npm install, and after that, it will go to this particular command. Okay, and after that, you can go to a post build action where you also have to generate the report, right? Where you also have to generate the report as well. So you can go to the build command over here and um, click on this add post build action. Whichever report that you want to generate, you can generate it over here. One of them is also available as email notification. For an email notification, what it does is you have to set up the email as well. You can select this. What it will do is you have to select the email. You have to basically set up the email, and those email address also you have to provide it over here so that it will automatically send that as a part of um like after the completion of execution, it will automatically send the report. Currently, we are interested in generation of an LUR report, so that you can select it over here, LUR report. And it says that the LUR report will be available inside target and LUR results. So it will, after the execution, the result will be available inside this particular path. If you want to provide any certain path over here, you can provide. By default, it will take this LUR minus result, that we can find it inside the result, which we'll see again in few minutes of time. These are the setup that we have to do inside the Jenkins to create a job. Okay, that is it. And then click apply and click on save. As soon as you click a save, a project will be added inside the dashboard over here. Go to the dashboard and you'll see the same project name over there as well, which is this one that we have selected over here. Okay, now if you want to execute this, you have to select this project, go to this project. You can manually do that as well, and we'll see like how does it do, how does it also do in terms of the automatically selection. Currently, we have not set up any kind of cron job. So to work with automatically set it up, we have to generate a cron job. We'll come back to this one. Cron job is something where you have to provide the value in this format, which says that you can generate from here. Generally, everyone takes the help of this to generate the cron job. Cron job is a job which will automatically run your or trigger your test automation. Okay, which will automatically trigger your test automation. You can select on every 5 minutes, or you can select on every 1 minute, or depending on the value that it has given, you can select on a daily basis, monthly basis, in a month, or whatever the value that you are trying to select. Okay. So before we start running, let me also see whether did we make it as false or headless as a true. Okay, we have a headless as a true over here, and headless true means it will run in a headless mode. Okay, so from here you can go to your project and click on build now. Just click on a build now option, and it will start running the job that we have created right now. Within few seconds, you will see that it will generate the build number over here. So we have clicked on build now, build have been scheduled, and see it has basically started execution of the job. You can click on this one, whatever the build number that it is displaying, you can click on that and go to the console output. Click on console output so that you can see the execution that it started. First time, if we see, it has started doing this npm command, but before that, it goes to this particular project and then check out the repository that you have given, the branch name that you have given over here. Okay, that branch name, it will check it out from this particular repository. Okay, from there it will check out the branch that you have given, which in our case is a master branch, which you can see like it has taken as the reference for a master branch, and then it started execution of the command that we have given. Okay, the last commit that we had given is LUR, added LUR report after our session, like we have completed other day. So that commit, it's saying that, okay, the last commit was this one, which we have also pulled it. And then it started working on first npm install, whatever the packages, jars that we had given, it has installed over here. And then it went to this one, npm run test smoke. From here, it went to the script, and from there, whatever the command that we had given, it has automatically pulled. And it says that running 10 tests using 1 workers. All the test cases, it is basically taking one by one. I believe all the test cases have been completed. If it basically, it says that 10 passed. There were 10 test cases, it have been passed successfully. Okay, and after completion of this, if everything goes well, then it says finished success. LU report was successfully generated. And at which place? This is the place that it generated over here. Now let's go to the status over here. It have been marked it as success. Go to the status and click on this status from here. And then inside the status, you will see the total, like for who have run these particular things and so on, that kind of options you'll get. And you'll also get one option known as LU report. Okay, or in the root folder as well, if you just click on the project name that you have created just now, if you just click on in the root for after execution of the first time, you'll get LU report. So you can click on this LU report and it generates in the same way, however, we had gone through the last time. Okay, now earlier we had seen inside the executor, there were nothing. If you go inside our project that we have created in our system, go to the LU report generation. If it's still available, let me just show you so that you can also check it out. Other part like download and all that we are left out with, we'll finish it off within 30 minutes. So, it's become, go to the package JSON. We have given test LU to generate the report. So we can simply run it as npm run test LU, which will display us the result over here if it is available. So let me okay. So if you see over here, the executor is nothing. Means it says that you have run in your local system. Okay, but if you see inside the Jenkins, it says that the Jenkins, it have been done by the Jenkins. For which project? This particular project. Okay, so LU report will be generated in the same way. We have a mistake over here inside this. We have to remove npx from here. Okay, so this is how we basically set up the Jenkins over here inside the like as a part of the job. Now, one more thing, you can click on the configure over here. And if you want to build it periodically, that means it has to run automatically. We have just built it by, ran it by clicking on like build now. That means again, that becomes a manual. But if you want to run it automatically as a part of your test automation, then you have to provide the cron job over here. Cron job is something like this. So depending on this value, it will be able to identify when it has to run basically the test automation job over here, or whichever job that you have set inside the Jenkins. It says that every minute over here. Right? So I'll just select it. Depending on your requirement, you can set it up. If you want to set it up like daily, every Friday at 12 a.m., you can run it like this. If you want to run on the day one of the month, it selects in this way, and so on. It will generate you whichever cron, whichever basically the command that you want to execute. Currently, I'll just select it out so that it will run in the next 1 minute, and we can also see the execution that whether it is running automatically or not. Okay, this one that you have given it every 1 minute. I'll remove it after we see that whether it is working or not. Click on apply. and click on save over here. Currently we have number one will come back. See, it started automatically execution now, which is number two. And you see it started execution and it will do the same operation. Let's come back after a few minutes. You will see more number of builds over here. Okay. So that's
Praveen, I have
basically
few
about,
questions.
yes,
Yeah, can you get back to the Jenkins? So yeah, this is what I understood. It's kind of similar to the YML file that we create.
exactly.
But tell me, here the target is the main branch. What if I
Yes.
wanted to target some of the feature branch and run into that? So do
You
I
can sell,
need to so
you
do I
have to,
need to build the another job, or in the same job I can have the multiple uh, and I can switch along.
no, at a time you have to select one. At a time you can select only one branch over here.
Okay, so so each for each of the like for feature branch, some other release branch, I have to separately create one job for them, right?
No, no. If you are saying like if I have to select like every time the other options, then you can provide it over here. This one, this project is a parameterized, and here you can select whatever the choice that you want to select it over here. But this one that you have given over here, so you can just select one string parameter, and inside this string parameter you can provide, let's say, a branch name over here, and that branch value you can say, let's say this is for master. Okay, so that you can make it as a parameterized. Again, add an, looks like system becomes very slow. Again, you can
But
add
how
it.
this value will be passed?
Right, I'll come to that. So you can select another branch over here, and inside this, when you go over here inside the branch, you can just make it as a parameterized. Say that whatever the name that you have given over here for the branch, that you can provide it over here. If you have given master, you can parameterize it, and depending on the value that you are selecting, it will select that value.
No,
So let's say
yeah,
if you
I
want
got
to,
it. Like
Hmm,
it's kind of like variable which I can change every time, and the
exactly,
same job I can utilize to run multiple ways.
right,
But I still have to modify it, right?
you have to modify it every time
So
whenever
in
you want to
runtime, I
run.
can't do that. But so let's say if I connect it with the runtime, I can't do that. So for each branch, I have to create. Let's say I want to run on the main as well as my release branch. So two jobs will be
Two
required.
jobs you have to create it, right? Yes.
Second thing, can we add some kind of hooks or trigger? For now, like either it will run by the cron job, schedule job, or manual. Can we
Hmm.
do something like if you make any pull request or push request, trigger this pipeline?
You can also do that. So inside the trigger, there are different options over here. One is a build, one is a hook that you can do at on pool SCM. You can again schedule this. You can also display some kind of hooks depending on some kind of like whenever you are trying to do depending on your pull request, merging of the pull request, that you can also do on this token. You can select depending on, like, this has given one option over here where it says that there was one option earlier we had seen, it was asking us to on a pull and push request. Hmm, build after other projects are built. Okay, so here you can trigger this on trigger trigger if the build is unstable. There was one option I believe I had seen in the paid version. Okay, I'm not sure where I'd seen, but there was some steps that you can provide it over here. Inside the build
Um,
step is
okay,
there was one
okay, another
option
thing.
which
Uh,
it gives us on a pull and pull request. You pull and push request you can start running.
another thing is that in GitLab, we set up some of the environment variables
Hmm.
uh, based on the uses. And while writing the YML file, we reference those environment variable in our code itself.
Hmm.
So if I'm creating the job through this Git, how can I access environment variable, which is there in the GitLab or GitHub, whatever you say, uh, through this Git Jenkins?
You can use it, but advanced level of things have not been given over here. Few of the things it have been given. You can provide the configuration file over here for the environment variable. Configuration file you can provide it, and that
So I
whatever
have to
you have.
separately. Oh, okay. So you're suggesting instead of putting my environment variables into the GitHub, I have to put that into the Jenkins so that it can access from
No,
here.
not inside the Jenkins. You can put it inside the GitHub itself, and that file you can select it out over here. That file target you have to provide it over here. Complete advanced level of setup it has not given inside the free version. It is having a
Oh,
basic
oh,
support
okay.
over here.
No, I thought that everything is there.
No. Advanced level of the things have been given inside the paid version.
So how widely this Jenkins is being used in the industry? I know Java people use it, but Java Selenium people, but how widely it is used?
If I talk about in terms of now, then it have been decreased, but like few years ago, if I talk about 1 year ago, it used to be in a huge manner. Like most of the organization were using Jenkins. When I say most, like 90% of the organization. But then came like different kind of supports from the GCP, AWS, Azure pipeline as well they have created. So people started moving there. But it is not something that Jenkins is not being used. It is still widely being used by the organization. So if I talk about now, earlier 90, now it have been basically decreased to 50%. So it's still not sure about the larger organization, but mid-level and startup, if you go through, they are depending on this Jenkins itself.
So I'm just
Mid-level
wondering what
organization.
additionally it's provide, because whatever you are doing with the help of the Jenkins, I can write the YAML file in the GitHub and that will do the same work.
Right. There are n number of things that we can generate inside. If you see, like once the paid version will probably come to know, there are n number of things that it has given inside the advanced version, where you can take the control of, you can um, create like a lot of other things as well. If you want to run on a periodical basis, you can run that by creating a job. This Jenkins, why it exists basically, it helps us in running it automatically as and when we require. That we can also provide inside the YML, but for that also we require a setup of the Jenkins over there. Or if you are working with some other things, then some other like server or cloud version. In Jenkins inside the if you also write it Jenkins files inside that also you'll have to provide the complete setup of this. So if you uh, if let's say like there are I mean again different type of CI/CD came into picture. To utilize this Jenkins, we have to do it however we have done over here. And this was earlier a user friendly. People used to directly jump in over here and create a project. So that it became famous in the market.
Yeah, it looks like you don't have to write any code. You can
Any
simply
code,
set it.
right?
Set them.
Exactly.
Yeah. Is the paid version has some free trial, something like that you're aware of?
Free trial. When I used it last time, that was for 14 days. I'm not sure if it is still available or not.
Okay, anyway, I will check that.
Right, you can just check it out. I'm not sure whether it is currently available or not, but it was earlier available to set it up. But that at that time also it was requiring us to provide the credit card details. Okay, so this is how we basically set it up. We can play with. Let's move back over here, and you see like this had started running every time, every now and then for every minute. So let's go to the configure. This is why our system became really slow. Let's go to this. I'll remove for now. Let's remove this. Click on apply, click on save. Okay, so this is how we basically set up the Jenkins, and you can also see like other trends that we can see in the LU.